The 15 best Bridgerton quotes ranked, where each season is dedicated to exploring the love story of a member of the Bridgerton family. It remains a mass ensemble narrative that branches out to different parts of the town. With this comes many exciting characters, all of whom have said many memorable things. Now, where we could list all the fun ones, much like Varley and her bugs, this list will reflect on the quotes that moved us and silenced us. These are the iconic lines that capture the essence of Bridgerton. Despite never truly witnessing their partnership on screen, the love between Violet, Ruth Gemmell, and Edmund remains the beating heart of the Bridgerton family. They are the ones who showed their children that marriage can be one of real abiding love. Back in those times, such a union was rare, but they proved to be the exception. That's why it was all the more heartbreaking that we only saw them in tragedy. Edmund's sudden death crushed Violet, who ultimately spiraled into her grief. In a brief flashback, audiences see a young Anthony, Jonathan Bailey, trying to coax her back into the world of the living, but alas, she retorts with the most heart-wrenching line. Any person who has ever lost a loved one can relate to the pain and detachment she felt at the time. Grief can be lonely and overwhelming, and this quote beautifully captures it all. From the moment she graced the screen, it was obvious that Bridgerton's Queen Charlotte, Golde Rocheville, was going to be a force to be reckoned with, firm in her ways, while also confidently equipped with sharp wit and intelligence. Nothing seemed to shake her. That was until she found a foe in Lady Whistledown and was confronted with the possibility of societal embarrassment. As a powerful figure, it would not bode well with the ton if her chosen diamond did not shine as brightly as she expected. So, in the hopes of securing a quick engagement, the Queen played matchmaker and introduced Daphne, Phoebe Dynevor, to her nephew, Prince Friedrich, Freddie Stroma. Unfortunately, that union did not go very far after Friedrich realized that Daphne had feelings for the Duke of Hastings. In a conversation with the Queen, the prince made it known that he would not interfere in their budding relationship. But, as we all have now come to learn, the Queen never takes no for an answer. While attending the Mondrich's ball, Francesca's, Hannah Dodd, frustration finally surfaces. Sensing her mother's hesitation about her betrothal to John Sterling, Victor Ally, Francesca gently, but firmly, defends a love that doesn't fit the Bridgerton mold. In a family known for sweeping declarations and emotionally charged courtships, Francesca's love story feels almost radical in its gentleness. There are no fiery arguments, no grand standoffs, just calm understanding, shared silences, and steady affection. And that's what makes this line resonate. Francesca articulates something the show rarely centers on, that ease can be just as meaningful as intensity. She pushes back against Violet's well-meaning but narrow vision of what romance should look like. So much so that in a world that thrives on spectacle, Francesca and John's simplicity feels refreshing and deeply real. Yes, for Bridgerton's book readers, there's a growing undercurrent of anxiety about where her story is leaning. Whatever direction her story ultimately takes, this moment remains one of her most powerful. Whether he's exploring his artistic passions, bickering with his siblings, or engaging in other sexual passions, Benedict Bridgerton, Luke Thompson, has become one of the most beloved characters on the show. From his open-mindedness to his sincere sweetness and jokey nature, it's not shocking that he has a list of great zingers. And yet, of all the memorable things he said, this one line in Season 3 took many by surprise. Benedict and Eloise, Claudia Jessie, have always been one of the closer duos of the Bridgerton siblings, and fans relish their one-on-one conversations. But his reassuring her of Penelope's love after the Poland wedding has to take the cake. Love is not finite is so simple, yet packed with such a punch. It's a tender moment of poignancy that we love to see between the siblings, and even serves as a moment of reflection for him. Sophie's Yurinha words are devastatingly precise because they are so quiet. As a maid living under the Penwood's cruelty, she exists on the margins of a world that could have been hers. She is mistreated, dismissed, and constantly reminded of her place. So when she experiences the masquerade, and more importantly, her immediate electric connection with Benedict, she allows herself a fleeting taste of something extraordinary. For one night, she wasn't invisible. She is seen, desired, and met as an equal. In many ways, this line captures both the magic and the heartbreak of that transformation. Sophie knows the clock is ticking. She understands that by midnight, reality will reassert itself, and Benedict will return to a world she is not permitted to occupy. Memorizing her time on the patio becomes an act of preservation, not just romantic longing. Sure, Benedict may see the mystery and fantasy in her, But Sophie understands the tragic fragility of this dream. With seasons 1 and 2, and even Queen Charlotte, gifting fans with some of the greatest proclamations of love of all time, season 3 had some high expectations to meet, especially since the main couple is two who should be masters of the written word. And, thankfully, they do manage to achieve this, though one stands out for not being the way that fans are used to. Collins, Luke Newton. Big proclamation is not overtly passionate nor overzealous. It's gentle, tender, and sincere, a softness that perfectly matches the aura of Colin and Penelope's, Nicola Coughlan, union. Indeed, it's arguable that this was the exact kind of declaration needed, given that their relationship was strained by the dangers and betrayal of Penelope's moniker of Lady Whistledown. His reassurance was particularly satisfying since it followed a huge moment of vulnerability where Penelope bravely confessed her secret identity for all society to hear. Major aura points to him. Speaking of Lady Whistledown, it only seems appropriate to acknowledge the looming presence that first captivated Ton and audiences alike. Lady Whistledown was quickly introduced as the clever and witty gossip columnist of high society. Her identity was initially a mystery, but her power was well known throughout. With eyes and ears everywhere, all of society held its breath to see who would eventually fall victim to her mighty pen. No faux pas was ever hidden, and no secret was ever left unturned. Her anonymity and omniscience were what kept her safe and secure with authority. That's all encapsulated in this first punchy line we hear. Such a contrast to when we meet the awkwardly sweet Penelope, the woman behind the mysterious writer. From her very first episode, Kate Sharma, Simone Ashley, positions herself as her sister's fiercest protector. Understanding how the marriage mart operates, Kate advises young Edwina, Charithra Chandran, not to be dazzled by status and surface-level charm. The confidence in her delivery sets up a woman who's already seen through the town's glittering facade, highlighting how she is one who values substance over status and refuses to apologize for it. Of course, the brilliance of this line lies in its irony. Kate initially directs it at men like Anthony Bridgerton, Jonathan Bailey, handsome, powerful, and seemingly transactional in their approach to marriage. She first regards him as everything she warns Edwina against: self-assured, pragmatic, and emotionally distant. Yet over the season, Anthony proves her words true. He wins her not with the title, but with vulnerability and growth. Indeed, what begins as sharp skepticism transforms into a love story rooted in emotional depth, exactly the kind Kate believed in all along. As the relationship that first drew us into the world of Bridgerton, it's safe to say that Daphne and Simon's, Regé-Jean Page, journey had their mega highs and extreme lows. But there's no denying that they had an extreme amount of passion that only intensified with every scene they shared. The attraction between the two was so obvious, and yet their official union seemed to be one of a transactional agreement. Having been caught in a passionate embrace, a marriage had to occur if Daphne hoped to protect her reputation, even if it meant being in a childless marriage. Thankfully, the pent-up awkwardness eventually dissipated while on their honeymoon, as the two finally confessed their true feelings for each other, with Daphne dropping one of the most iconic lines of the entire series. "Yes, people, I burn for you," is a Daphne line. Let's get it right. Despite him being long gone at the beginning of Bridgerton, Edmund, Rupert Evans, remains a looming presence on the show, not only held in the heart of his widow, but always remembered by their children. And none more so than Anthony. Having been made Lord Bridgerton at such a young age, Anthony always looked up to his father, not only as head of the family, but as a man himself, even if it may have taken some time for his wisdom to really sink in.